All right, so now we're in 12.3, velocity and acceleration. So we're going to describe the velocity and acceleration associated with vectors. So if my position vector r has the form of x sub t I, y sub t j, then I know my velocity vector, all right, is going to have the magnitude, right, using our magnitude notation of the derivative. So this is going to be a speed if you think about it, because we're ignoring the direction. So we just want the magnitude. So if I want the magnitude of my velocity, it's what I'm really taking, but it's taking the magnitude of velocity, that is speed. So I need to take the derivative of my component form, and then from there, we're going to take the square root like the distance formula. So this looks a lot like our arc length formula when we had 1 plus my derivative squared, but in vector form, right, it's going to take the derivative of both sides. Similarly, we can use, to find the acceleration, I can use my r double prime to do the same thing. So I want the magnitude of the acceleration vector. All right, box definition here. So if x and y are twice differentiable, and r is a vectored value function such that r is formed by x sub t I, y sub t j, so then I can find the velocity and acceleration vector and speed as follows. And you can imagine these are going to be always together. So my velocity, right, is my first derivative. Take the derivatives of the component vectors. My acceleration is my second derivative of the component form. My speed is the magnitude of my velocity, which would be the magnitude of my first derivative, which is my distance formula using my derivatives here. All right, motion along a curved space, the definitions are similar. So we're going to go from I, J, and K. You can see everything is the same. I just have a K. All right, sorry about that. Again, we're going through, since you're in 3 dimensions, you're just going to include this K portion. Again, for our magnitude for the speed, it's the same derivative. We're going to contain that Z portion to make it the 3 parts. All right, example 1, find the velocity vector, speed, and acceleration vector of a particle that moves along my curve. So here's my vector here. So I've got my x of t, I've got my y of t. So my velocity, then my velocity vector of r is going to be r prime. So if I take the derivative of sine as cosine, keep the argument the same, chain rule it, take that half and multiply by 2. That's why there's no coefficient. And take the derivative of cosine in front, just like we know we can. All right, the speed at any time, well, at any time t is really what it's going to tell you, is my magnitude, right, of my first derivative. So I'm looking at my first derivative notation here. Since I already calculated it, right, I'm going to square it. You're squaring the cosine. You're squaring the sine. Okay, so if I have sine squared plus cosine squared, right, we know that that's going to equal 1. So that's why it's at any time t, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your t is. It's always going to be a 1, because I'm still going to have sine squared, cosine squared. All right, acceleration vector. So my acceleration vector is my second derivative of my r vector. So I would just continue taking that next derivative. All right, projectile motion, you have machinery that can derive a parametric equation from a projectile motion. All right, cool. So, right, it starts off, I've got an initial height. So as it's coming up, I have a pretty steep vector. I've got gravity working down. So gravity's forcing it down. So this steep vector has to start changing because gravity's working down on it. Then gravity always wins, and then you're going to be facing down because you're going to be hitting the ground pretty soon. So these are just some things that you're going to see in the homework, and it's going to be shown for you as well as in the examples. So things like mass times gravity and things like that, how that's going to be in your J component because gravity only works down. You're 32 feet per second, considering feet. You're 9.8 when you're talking about meters. Things like that. That would be just an applied question. No one in calculus here expects you to have these memorized. All right, the derivative of a position function for a projectile. So it's going to go with what you think it is. So if we start with the acceleration and you have to work backwards. So they're telling me that I just have a negative gravity here. So if that's my acceleration, I'm going to take the antiderivative. If I take the antiderivative of negative g here with respect to t, I'm just going to have a negative gt still on the j vector. Now I've got to add on a constant. So if I go ahead and go one more time, and I take my integral of my velocity, now my negative g of t, when I take that antiderivative, it's going to go to my negative 1/2 gt squared j. I'm going to have some constant with t, and then I'm going to have a new constant, right? So I integrate my c sub 1, it's going to be c sub 1t. This is where you would need more information, such as my initial velocity and things like that. So if they say my initial velocity v, then that's where that's going to start coming into play with my c1s. All right, so again, we said initial velocity was v naught, my initial position was r naught. So then when we calculate that out by putting in the zeros, it's going to be t v naught plus r naught for you to calculate this out a little faster. But again, there's no realistic AP expectation that you're fluid in projectile motion vectors. All right, so this is just putting it back together from the other page. And then this is just adding in the values that you had calculated. All right, box definition. Again, this isn't where I'm not emphasizing this at all, so I'm going to stop talking about it and move on. Describing a path of a baseball. This is where your vector or parametrics really come into play, because you have to know the time the ball is in the air, and based on that time it's in the air, we need to know the horizontal distance it's going to travel. And we need to know at that time, is it going to have that y distance to make it over the fence? All right, so that's really what comes into play. This is for those that are interested in sports and that kind of calculation. It's a good practice, but for any AP practice, it's not necessary. So here's the solution going along with that. And that's our last example. Okay, so if anything, we really wanted to make sure that you're good with taking the derivative and seeing the velocity and acceleration of verbiage on vectors. And that's our big takeaway. All right, thank you very much.